Hold up, why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play the roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Double M Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Susan Nero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
We witnessed Emmanuel Navarrete unify the WBO and IBF Super Featherweight titles last night. Let's talk about it.
So we were actually there live at the arena. I'm going to go ahead and drop some videos now. Bam! And as you guys can see, we had a great night, fun night, good card. There was only really one fight where the crowd booed, and the crowd definitely let that fight and those two people know that they were not having it. Other than that, man, phenomenal night of fights. A lot of great action, especially with the co-main event and the main event. I'm going to really speak more about the main event, but I'm going to let my brother here talk a little bit about the co-main event. What did you think about the co-main event, my man?
Emiliano Vargas absolutely did his thing, stopping Quintana. I think it was before the 11th round. Doctor stoppage actually saw before the 10th. It was the beginning of the 10th, but it was overtime into the 9th. Quintana actually had super damage going on to the right side of his face, where he was basically functionally blind in that right side of his face, and the doctors basically called the stoppage. Quintana was having absolutely none of it. He actually went on to rage in the ring while Vargas was celebrating. And we actually did witness that he actually left the ring even before they were doing the post-fight interview. Emiliano Vargas was only one in the ring, and by that point, Quintana was basically just gonzo by the end of the night, which again is going to be foreshadowing for the next fight that we have going on for our main event. But I did think it was apt to talk about the co-main before we go on. Emiliano Vargas absolutely doing his thing. He is going to be a superstar, and this is going to be a next leg up in that competition. Regardless, it was a phenomenal fight, but my feelings on the co-main aside, let's talk about the main event.
As far as the main event, oh man, these two dudes went to war. Eduardo Nunez put on a show. He may have lost, which he did lose. He got taken out of there in the 11th. Doctor stoppage, given how much damage, same thing he had taken to the eye. He was, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man, he was messed up. He couldn't see basically anything out of one of the eyes. On the big Jumbotron, they kind of showed them opening his eye. And man, it took a lot to open that eye, man. Sugar Nunez didn't want it to be stopped. I'll be honest with you. I give him a lot of credit for that because he wanted to keep going despite the fact that he couldn't see out that eye. But listen, before the ending, oh man, these two dudes went to war, my brothers. These two dudes went to war. They got busy in every single round. There was hardly a round where they didn't get some sort of work going. And they were both dominating. I'm not going to lie. I told my brother here, there was a point where I thought maybe Navarrete was hurt, only because the way he was throwing punches, he would throw something and then he'd like throw himself back, like he'd fall back, almost like if he was punched, but he wasn't getting punched. So I was telling him I thought maybe Navarrete was injured or something like that, because it was very weird. It was kind of throwing the rhythm off a little bit of his fighting. He looked almost lackluster, even though he wasn't. But regardless of that, man, look, Navarrete put in work, bro. He damaged them so badly that, again, had to come to a doctor stoppage. That eye was too closed up. But throughout the fight, it was fireworks, bro. Throughout the fight, there was fireworks. There was fireworks in the crowd as well. Two different fights were going on. But apart from that, it was fireworks within the ring. And, oh, man, these two dudes, there was not a single round, I'm telling you, there was not a single round that didn't have some sort of action in it. And every time that Nunez threw something, and he threw, to get Navarrete out of there, Navarrete responded in kind. In fact, there was a phenomenal, I want to say it was in the 8th round, combination where Navarrete was up against the ropes, and it was like at least a 4, 5, 6 punch combo, bro, that sent Nunez going back. Phenomenal work. I actually thought he was going to call it off there, because when Nunez went backwards, it kind of looked like he was shaken a little bit by the combination punching, which isn't even Navarrete's normal style. But Navarrete, he teed off on him, man. It was phenomenal, great work. I haven't told my brother here, I'm like, I don't ever advise any fighter to be up against the ropes, but the way that Navarrete was fighting, hey, man, maybe stay up against them ropes. Great, phenomenal work. Love to see every fight of it. Now unified champion, as my brother here said. Great night. I thought the world of this fight. This is why we're in the fight game, if I'm being honest with you. I love watching these fights where dudes go to war. It's not boring. It's exciting the whole way through. The crowd was standing up the entire time because you just didn't know. It could have ended at any moment in time for either one of these guys because they were throwing phenomenal work the entire 11 rounds before it got stopped. Phenomenal work. Love to see it. We're going to keep going to these fights. We're going to keep going and attending these because this is why we're in this game. And this is why we commentate on these fights because it's just phenomenal work. And in this case, by both guys. Not a dull moment. Loved every minute of it. What do you think about that, my man?
It should not be understated that Emmanuel Navarrete did absolutely phenomenal work unifying the WBO and the IBF super featherweight titles. And again, he did an absolutely colossal amount of work to try and take down Nunez, and by all accounts, Nunez was taking shot after shot after shot, combination after combination, power punch after power punch, and no matter what, Nunez would not go down. You know, the tagline for this was, who is going to be the next King of Mexico? And by God, the tagline for this fight absolutely delivered. It did not under-deliver whatsoever. Both of these men putting it all out on the line. From round 1 to before even round 11, both of these men were putting it on the line. This fight, I even said this in our live that Hugh put out, I said this fight had all gas and no brakes. From the beginning, it looked like Navarrete was doing most of the work. Sugar Nunez was doing his best to keep up with the pace. Round 3, I would definitely say that it was Nunez that was taking a little bit more of the round. And round 4 on, it looked... Sorry, let me bring the back. Round 3, Navarrete was absolutely trying to dominate the match, and by all accounts, he actually looked like he was getting it. Round 4, it looks like he took in substantial damage from Nunez, and I even said this at the time when we were doing live on the fight. Nunez looked to have done significant damage to Navarrete because round 4, there was a little bit of a momentum shift because Navarrete was doing a little bit more of the defensive work, leaning more on the ropes. He wasn't throwing nowhere near as much, and that's why your comment landed where you might have thought that Navarrete had his hand broken or his arm broken or whatever because he wasn't throwing nowhere near as much from round 4 on. And again, round 4 on from round A, absolute fireworks. We couldn't even score who actually proper won the fight. And it was round 8 where it looked like Navarrete was delivering more of the combinations where Nunez was letting himself be absolutely open to damage like that. And it was round 9 where it looked like Nunez had to be checked on by a doctor because at that point, the damage to his eye was absolutely swollen to the point where they had to cover his entire eye up with the compressor to try and get the swelling down. And the referee at that time noticed that the damage had been absolutely done to Nunez where he was functionally blind in that right eye. And round 9, it was even a big question if the fight was even going to continue, but it looked like the doctors were basically okaying it for that to happen. And Nunez, by all accounts, didn't want the fight to stop absolutely whatsoever. And one thing I have to add about Nunez is for a man that was functionally blind in his right eye, by all accounts, any other fighter would take that as a note and saying, okay, I need to rally on through this match, take as little damage as absolutely possible, and try and take up this. We're going to upset this next round as a loss. We're going to try and recuperate, and we're just going to rally on from here on out. What does Sugar Nunez do? My right eye is swollen. What do I do? Deliver 110 for this next round. He was absolutely more aggressive the more that his eye was blinded because he realized, I'm fighting on borrowed time here. I'm going to need to do absolutely everything I can because Navarrete is not going to go down without a fight. And guess what? Neither am I. And more that he was blinded, the more aggressive that he was. Nunez showed that even though he lost, he showed that he's an absolute warrior in this matchup. And you might be wondering, okay, well, who cared about the co-main event? Like, I wanted to hear about the main event. The point I brought up in the co-main was that Quintana had his eye swollen, and the doctors called off the fight. It was a TKO, and Quintana basically rage quit out of the ring, and left before the post-fight interview. Nunez realized that the doctor was going to call the fight because he was functionally blind and they didn't want him to continue. And by all accounts, Nunez was absolutely gracious in defeat. He went on to hug the champion Navarrete on his victory. He congratulated him. He even got in a hug with Eddie Hearn after the match. And by all accounts, Nunez showed that you can still lose and still come out with a winner. The amount of heart that this man has in that matchup, the heart of a warrior that he did for trying to push through something that was a very callous injury in the middle of the match, this shows that Nunez is an absolute dangerous warrior with the heart that a boxer can absolutely have. This was a phenomenal fight from here on through. But that's my feelings on it. What do you think about that?
I agree with everything you said, my man. I thought it was a great fight. Phenomenal work by both of these guys. Like you said a little bit ago, this was all gas, no brakes, y'all. All gas, no brakes. The entire time these guys were just going head to head and going at it. We love being there. It was a fun time. Again, there was a couple fights in the crowd as well, so that got entertaining. The crowd was definitely into every fight that was there. It was a phenomenal, good time. Love to see it. More fights like this, we're definitely going to attend them because we love the atmosphere, we love the work, we love the fights themselves. Great work. Shout out to both of these guys. Definitely the true definition of warriors and definitely the true definition of the Mexican style of fighting. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.